Dark Friday this as bandits struck again. This time around at the government girls secondary school Jangebe in Talata, Mafara local government area of Zamfara State at about 1 a.m. The police say that they have commenced a coordinated search and rescue operation involving the deployment of both ground and area assets. The Governor Matawali, has equally ordered the closure of all boarding schools in the state after the incident. The school attack comes just over a week after a similar attack on a school for boys in Niger State. But Nigeria is experiencing a rising incidence of school abductions, raising a red flag on the safety of schools in Nigeria, especially the ones with boarding facilities. Where do we go from here? You see the some kind of highlight on your screen of some of the history of in the last 5 or so years when we've seen repeated school abductions from Chibok in Borno State to Dapchi to Kankara to Kagara, and now this in Yangbe, where it happened just earlier today, just about a week from the Kagara situation. Over 300 students, about 370 students, said to have been taken away from their school at the government girls secondary school there in Jangbe. So this gives us a worry, a source of worry as a people. What is government doing about it? The governor there has declared that and ordered the closure of all boarding school. But where do we go from here? It was only yesterday that President Buhari said there will be no softening of the ongoing measures aimed at tackling insurgents, bandits, kidnappers, and other criminals constituting a threat to innocent citizens across the country. Let me get my guest tonight into the conversation of the way forward. Where do we go from here? What is government doing about this situation that we do not have a repeat or recurrence of what we've seen earlier this morning? It seems to be 1 week, one trouble in some of the schools' facilities in Nigeria. So I have joining me a co-convener of the Bring Back Our Girls group, Ms. Aisha Yesufu. She joins us from Abuja. And in our Abuja studio is Dr. Undu Nwokolo, a security consultant with the next year SPD. Thank you so much, Madam Yesufu and Dr. Nwokolo, for your time tonight on this program. Let's get the conversation started. And let me start with Ms. Yesufu. When the situation in Chibok happened, it was you drew the attention of the world to what it meant for the parent to lose their children to these abductors. And now we're seeing yet another one. It happened in Dapchi after the Chibok incident. Now we're seeing this one happening in Jangebe in Zamfara State. Let me get the reaction of your group, Bring Back Our Girls, in this particular situation.
Well, the Bring Back Our Girls movement, this is for us, it's such a sad moment, especially the fact that our government has not learned anything in spite of almost 7 years of advocacy that we've been calling on the government to do the right thing and to do the needful to ensure that citizens are protected, students are protected, this Safe School initiative is followed the way it should be. But one of the things I need to let us all know is that before Chibok girls' abduction, there was actually Buniyadi killing. And yesterday marked as the 7th year of the Buniyadi killings. 29 boys were slaughtered in their school. So and over the time we haven't let anything. We had Buniyadi killings, we had Chibok girls abduction, we had Potiskum killings. 48 of them were killed in the school assembly. We've had Gumsiri women and children abducted. We've had Dapchi. We have Kankara, Kagara, and now Jengebe. And it's really sad that we're just going on. At the Bring Back Our Girls movement, we kept saying that the fight for our Chibok girls is the fight for the soul of Nigeria. We kept saying that Chibok girls are a symbol of those that were taken before and after them. And every Nigerian must realize that we are all in this together. And terrorist attack to anyone, anywhere, is terrorist attack to everyone, everywhere. Sadly, here we are, 7 years after, nothing has been learned. And our children are being taken away. And the crime is it because they are Nigerians? Is it because they are poor? Why is it that they are left on their own for terrorists to be taking them the way they want?
The President, Muhammadu Buhari, yesterday said there will be no softening on how the government at the federal level is going to handle this situation. And he said there are ongoing measures at tackling the issues involving insurgents, bandits, and kidnappers. What do you make of that statement from the president?
I think what I make of this statement is absolutely nothing. We are used to a president whose words mean nothing. He says one thing and the opposite happens. And I think part of the things that we should be demanding as Nigerians is the fact that the president should come out and tell us what is going on. The media should sit down with the president and ask him what is the way forward. As a citizen, it's not our business to give the way forward. He was voted to give the way forward. His salaries are being paid for. His needs are being taken care of. The president isn't anywhere. You know something, when the president first came in, they talked about the body language. What is the body language of the president today? The body language of Muhammadu Buhari it enables the terrorists. They know that we have an ineffective president and commander-in-chief. We have an incompetent one. We have a clueless one who does not even bother about what is happening in the country. Yesterday, we buried 7 military officers, among them the best that we have. The nation was in mourning, and the president was a few minutes away from where they were heading, and he didn't turn up. And what does that say to even to anybody, even to the nation? It is high time we begin to make serious demand from the president and let him know that if he's not ready to do this, please, he can leave there, he can resign and go away. Enough of the abduction, enough of the killings, enough of the incompetence, enough of the clueless leadership. We are tired. We need good governance.
All right, Madam Yesufu, I'll just plead that the use of your use of words when you say things like clueless to the number one citizen.
Let me come again. Those things are not insults. They are statements of facts. You can check this. When we say somebody is clueless, the person does absolutely nothing. And that's what I'm saying. I do not insult. And I will never, he's not even worthy of my insult. So let's be very factual. Those things are statements of fact and they are not insults. And we should not be cowards in this country. We are all citizens. We are not slaves in Nigeria.
Ms. Yesufu. Ms. Yesufu, with what we're seeing today and the repetition of what we have seen, it's just like a week ago, I mean, that this similar situation has happened. We've heard what the United Nations has said. We've heard Amnesty International speaking about this situation. What do you make of the role of the state government, especially when the issue of state policing comes to the fore? For example, a former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, has come out to say states should be allowed to take care of internal security.
Absolutely. I mean, it's something that we've been calling for years. The way the security machinery of Nigeria is set up to fail. Imagine you have to wait all the way from Abuja to get something done in my village down at Agbede in Edo State. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. What we need to do now, we need to have state policing. We need to have local government policing. We need to be able to hold the different arms of the different tiers of government accountable and responsible. If the Zamfara state had their own policing system, right now we'll be asking the governor, why didn't he protect the schools as much as he could? But one of the things that I need to let us know, understand for me, which was the most insightful thing about the Kankara abduction, which really scared me, and I'm talking about really being scared, was the fact that on the day that the Kankara abduction happened, the president was in the state. He came in that very day. And yet the terrorists did not even, so that means they knew that we have an ineffective president and commander-in-chief, and they didn't even abort their mission. They went ahead, they were able to abduct Kankara boys for hours, they trekked for hours, they were not intercepted, nothing. They did this thing freely in a state that the president of our nation and commander-in-chief was in place, and you would expect that every machinery would have been deployed. So that simply tells you something. There is nothing being done, and we are all at the mercy of terrorists whenever they come out for them to abduct us. And yet we have billions of naira being wasted, and we're not seeing any results. We need to show I'm tired of living in a nation where lives don't matter. I'm tired. Our children are looking at us. We are not protecting them. We are not doing anything. We are afraid to speak where we are not even alive in Nigeria. We are dying every day. And yet citizens are sitting down there and they're doing absolutely nothing, giving an enabling environment for the government to continue to fail, and also emboldening the terrorists to keep attacking. The question we should all be asking is, where is the next target? Will we get a phone call that our children are taken away before we do something?
All right, let's take a breather, everyone. And when we come back, tonight our attention is on this situation of abduction in schools in Nigeria. You might be asking a question as a citizen of the country, but where do we go from here? The same question I'd like to ask, perhaps in different form and in different style, to my guest tonight was abductions in our school as we've seen them in the past few years, beginning from the situation in Borno State, in the situation with Chibok School, then going to Dapchi, that's what happened next, then to Kankara, to Kagara, and now the latest one is in Yambe in Zamfara State. My guest tonight, Ms. Aisha Yesufu, co-convener of the Bring Back Our Girls movement. And from Abuja studio is Dr. Undu Unwokolo. He's a security consultant and the lead expert at the next year SPD. Thank you so much, Ms. Yesufu and Dr. Unwokolo. Let me go to Dr. Unwokolo. You've done some a pretty decent work in terms of research about the situation of things. And I read a write-up of your work on the issue of Safe School Initiative and keeping our schools safe, especially in the wake of what happened in Dapchi. From what we saw in Kagara and Kankara, now in Jambe, what do you think exactly is happening? The recent one, at least the last 3 abductions.
Benga, thank you. Sheung, thank you. For every analyst, I think your mind will be going to what does Boko Haram represent? One of the ideologies of Boko Haram is that Western education is halal, is evil. So one could start saying that, is there a linkage between the attack on schools in northern Nigeria and the ideology of Boko Haram? Now, for instance, we just concluded a report which we are releasing on Monday, which we call War on Education. It shows that this didn't start today. For instance, in 2015, Nigerian Union of Teachers came out to say that over 600 teachers have been killed in northern Nigeria. So, from all indication, you could see that the whole idea could be to scare parents away from taking their kids to school. Remember, we are battling with a society where the out-of-school children is high. Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school children in the world. Now, with what is happening, if you're a parent, will you send your child back to the same school where a lot of them were kidnapped? They are targeting a thing, and they are actually achieving what they want to target. Now, we have a system where the government is actually negotiating from a point of weakness. You do not tell a terrorist that you're weak. I understand that when it comes to issue of trying to broker peace, you can actually give amnesty, just like the one we did in the Niger Delta. But when we did that, the Nigerian state never showed that they were weak. They came strongly from a point of strength, offering the amnesty. People from the militants from the Niger Delta bought into it. But you have a situation where you do not even know how you're negotiating because the state is showing weakness and the terrorists and the bandits are cashing on it. Now, the next question will be, all the ransom that is being collected, terror war going on in the northeast.
All right.
Are you sure this
Dr.
is not
Nwokolo, apologies if I can cut in quickly so that we can clarify. I mean, you mentioned Boko Haram so that we don't mix things up and perhaps we can learn 1 or 2 things from your the knowledge that responsibility of the abduction to Boko Haram, what we're seeing in Zamfara and in Niger State. Because what we know is that these are activities of the bandits. Or do you think Boko Haram carried this out?
Now, let's if we recall some months back, there was a time one of our security chiefs came out to say, oh, that they think that some members of Boko Haram may have left the place and infiltrated into other parts of Nigeria. Now remember that we are dealing with, bandits who are criminals. Terrorists are equally criminals. No matter what you are fighting, you may be fighting from an ideological position. Now, you have a terrorist group that may be in need of finance and may be supporting another organization. They say that your enemy's enemy is, your enemy's friend is your enemy. So you could see an organization like the banditry going on, or like the people who are calling bandits are actually an organized armed group. So we can actually ascribe anything to them, because the same things they show are equally the same thing Boko Haram and ISWAP and other insurgent groups are showing. So what is the difference between the two? So you could see that what is happening is that there might likely to be a connect between the kind of adoption going on in the Northwest and the adoption that went on under the terrorist groups in the Northeast. So you could see that they are operating in the same methodology. So what we can be asking is there a connection between the two? And I think this is where the Nigerian state is failing. We are failing to study. We are failing to come out to constitute, a team to look at, is there any connection between the two? We can't keep saying, oh, we want to negotiate, we want to give amnesty. Are you giving amnesty to people who have an ideology that will bring the country down? I understand the position of Sheikh Gumi asking for amnesty to be granted to them. Are you granting amnesty to people who do not believe in the Nigerian state? So you find out that the state needs to come out strongly to fight this, strongly to understand what is happening. We are not actually doing any work. Even the reports that are being sent out, no one reads them. The government is actually not being proactive about this. We are always reactive. It happens and then everybody is running helter-skelter. This will not help us. And I think is a big issue here the government needs to deal with. The government needs to start understanding what is happening. What is the connection between the adoption of school children in the Northeast and the adoption of school children in the Northwest? Are they actually targeting schools to bring down education in Nigeria? Remember when I came here on the studio and talked about that they were attacking our food security in the country. And part of what I said was there is need for us to build an architecture around farming communities. And I think they bought into that. And what I'm thinking again is that if the governor of Zamfara is saying that he's closing down all boarding schools, they might change their strategy and start coming during the day. So part of what we are thinking, which our reporting on Monday is going to talk about, is that they should start thinking about building safe and super camp schools. Schools where you can move these children away from communities that are unsafe. Take them to big schools and build security around these big schools. These children need to go to school. If they don't go to school, the ripple effect, this country will not recover from it in years to come. We need to have these children educated. And the only way to go do that is that we go back to our Safe School initiative, which we initiated with Gordon Brown Commission. And we've just abandoned everything. We keep going back each time it happens. What strategy are we developing to make sure that this does not happen again?
All right.
Like Mrs. Yusuf talked, it will happen again unless the government comes out squarely and strongly against these bandits. That's the only way. And again, there is need for us to start studying. How can they come and take about 317 students without some local people working with them?
All right, Dr. Nwokolo, we need to go now. Let me allow Ms. Yesufu to Let me allow Ms. Yesufu to give us the final shot on the program tonight. Ms. Yesufu, just in 30 seconds. I mean, there is a worrying situation as regarding the out-of-school children that Dr. Nwokolo talked about. A case that rose from 10.5 million to 13.2 million. That's the highest in the world. So we don't get into this situation again. If there is one thing that you want to say, Ms. Yesufu, tonight, as to us being able to work into a situation where we nip this in the bud, what would that statement be?
Well, one of the things that I would like to say at this moment is that NUJ should come out and should stop being cowards. They should come out and demand that the president speaks to them. We need all the professional bodies coming out. They should ensure that they sit down with the president and ask him what is he doing about the situation in the country. What is he doing about the insecurity? Journalists are supposed to be the watchdog. That's the fourth realm, and they should act as one. Right now, our nation is going down, and we cannot afford to continue to have a president who does not care, who the only thing he knows how to do is to wear his patch agbada and take pictures. That is not helping us. The terrorists are coming after every one of us, and enough is enough in Nigeria. We cannot continue to be cowards in this country.
Thank you so much, my guest tonight, for talking to us. Ms. Aisha Yesufu, co-convener of the Bring Back Our Girls movement. Thank you indeed for creating time, Ms. Yesufu, tonight. And also Dr. Indu Nwokolo, a security consultant and lead expert at the next year SPD. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us tonight on Channels Television.